Robert was 58 years old, living in Phoenix, Arizona, and by almost any measure, he had done everything right. He had spent 31 years working as a project manager for a mid-sized construction company. He had put money into his 401k every single year since he was 27. He had paid off his car. He had a modest home with a manageable mortgage. And sitting in his retirement account was $487,000. More money than anyone in his family had ever saved in their lives. Robert felt good, confident even. Retirement was still about 7 years away, and he figured he had plenty of time to coast. So when his company offered him a chance to move into a less stressful role with slightly lower pay, he took it. He dropped his 401k contribution from 12% of his salary down to 4%, just enough to get the employer match. He told himself he would ramp it back up in a year or two. He told himself he had already done the hard work. And then, almost without noticing, Robert made 4 more decisions. Small ones, reasonable-sounding ones. The kind of decisions that millions of people make every single day after they turn 50. And by the time Robert sat down with a financial advisor at age 64, just 1 year before he planned to retire, he discovered that those 5 quiet decisions had cost him somewhere between $310,000 and $380,000 in retirement income over the course of his lifetime. He did not lose it in a stock market crash. He did not get scammed. He did not make any single dramatic mistake. He just did what felt normal, what felt safe, what felt like enough. So the question I want you to sit with for the next few minutes is this. What if you are making the exact same decisions Robert made right now, and you do not even know it yet? Because here is what I have learned after years of studying retirement planning. The mistakes that do the most damage are almost never the dramatic ones. They are the quiet ones, the ones that feel reasonable in the moment, the ones that nobody warns you about until it is too late. According to a major research study by Fidelity Investments, the average American retires with about 78% of the savings they actually need to maintain their lifestyle. Not close to what they need, significantly short. And the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances found that the median retirement savings for Americans between 55 and 64 years old is just $134,000. The median, meaning half of the people approaching retirement have less than that. This is not a story about irresponsible people. This is a story about smart, hard-working people who made common, understandable mistakes during the years that mattered most. In this video, I am going to walk you through 5 of the most costly financial mistakes people make after age 50. The ones that quietly drain hundreds of thousands of dollars from your retirement without ever setting off any alarms. And more importantly, I am going to show you exactly what you can do about each one starting this week. This is not about blaming yourself for the past. This is not about complicated investment strategies. This is not even about earning more money. It is about understanding what is actually happening to your financial future right now, so you can change course before it is too late. Let us start with mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is slowing down your retirement contributions during your peak earning years. This is exactly what Robert did, and it is one of the most expensive mistakes a person can make after 50, because of something most people do not fully appreciate until someone explains it to them. The mathematical power of what financial experts call the final decade. Here is why this matters so much. When you are in your 50s, you are typically earning more money than you have ever earned in your life. Your kids, if you have them, are likely grown or close to it. Your biggest expenses from your 30s and 40s are starting to ease up. And the IRS actually gives people over 50 a special advantage called catch-up contributions, which allow you to put significantly more money into your 401k or IRA than younger workers can. In 2024, if you are 50 or older, you can contribute up to $30,500 into a 401k. That is $7,500, more than the standard limit. For an IRA, you can contribute $8,000 instead of $7,000. But here's the part most people never hear about this. It is not just the extra money that matters. It is the timing. Every dollar you contribute in your 50s has roughly 10 to 15 years to grow before you need it. At a historically average market return of around 7% annually, a single $10,000 contribution at age 52 becomes approximately $19,600 by the time you are 62. And if you delay that same contribution by just 5 years, if you contribute that $10,000 at 57 instead of 52, it only grows to about $14,000 by age 62. You lost $5,600 on a single $10,000 contribution just by waiting 5 years. Now multiply that across every dollar you reduce or delay during your 50s, and you begin to understand what happened to Robert. What can you do this week? Log into your retirement account and find out exactly what percentage of your income you are currently contributing. Then look at your budget and ask yourself one honest question. Is there any way to increase that by even 1 or 2% right now? Even a 1% increase on a $75,000 salary is $750 per year, which over 10 years at average market returns adds up to more than $10,000 in additional savings. Small moves in your 50s create enormous differences in your 60s. Mistake number 2 is treating your home equity like a retirement plan. I want to be careful here, because I am not saying your home is a bad investment. For many people, it has been a wonderful one. But there is a dangerous assumption that a surprising number of people over 50 are carrying without even realizing it. The assumption that their home equity will save them if their other savings fall short. According to the AARP, more than 40% of Americans between the ages of 50 and 64 are counting on their home as a primary or backup source of retirement income. And the problem with that plan is not that it cannot work, it is that it comes with costs and complications that most people dramatically underestimate. Think about what actually happens when you try to convert your home equity into retirement income. If you sell your home, you need somewhere else to live, which in most markets means renting. And rent takes a significant bite out of whatever you receive from the sale. If you take out a reverse mortgage, the fees and interest costs can be substantial, and the product works very differently than many people assume. And if you plan to downsize, the gap between what you sell for and what you buy for may be much smaller than you expected, especially in today's housing market. Here is a real-world example that illustrates this clearly. Imagine a couple in their early 60s who have $180,000 in retirement savings and $400,000 in home equity. They feel secure. But when they actually sit down and run the numbers, they realize that selling their home, paying closing costs and capital gains taxes, and purchasing a smaller home in a more affordable area, they might net $180,000 to $220,000 in actual cash, not $400,000. And that money, added to their existing savings, gives them roughly $380,000 total. At a safe withdrawal rate of 4%, that is about $15,200 per year in retirement income, on top of whatever Social Security provides. That is not nothing, but for many people, it is far less than they imagined. What can you do this week? Write down 2 separate numbers: your total retirement account balances and your estimated home equity. Then ask yourself, if I had to fund my retirement using only the first number, what would that look like? This exercise will show you very quickly whether you have a genuine financial cushion or whether you are leaning on your home more heavily than you realized. Mistake number 3 is taking Social Security too early. This is perhaps the single most costly and most common retirement mistake I see people make. and I understand why they make it. It feels like free money. It feels like getting something you have earned, and there is a completely understandable fear that if you wait too long, something might happen and you will never collect. But here is what the numbers actually say. According to the Social Security Administration, your monthly benefit increases by approximately 8% for every year you delay claiming past your full retirement age, up until age 70. If your full retirement age is 67 and you claim at 62 instead, your monthly benefit is permanently reduced by 30%, permanently, for the rest of your life. Let me put that in dollars. If your expected Social Security benefit at full retirement age is $2,200 per month, claiming at 62 drops that to roughly $1,540 per month. That is a difference of $660 every single month. Over 20 years of retirement, assuming you live to 82, that difference adds up to $158,400 in total lifetime benefits. Gone permanently because of a decision made at 62. And here is the part that makes this even more significant. Social Security benefits are adjusted for inflation every year, so that $660 monthly difference does not stay at $660. It grows over time, which means the total lifetime cost of claiming early is often well above $200,000 when you account for the cost of living adjustments over a long retirement. I know this is not as simple as it sounds, because many people claim early for very good reasons: health concerns, financial necessity, a spouse who needs support. And if you are in one of those situations, claiming early may absolutely be the right decision for you. But if you are claiming early simply because it feels like the safe choice, or because you are afraid the program might change, I want you to at least understand the true cost of that decision before you make it. What can you do this week? Go to SSA.gov and create or log into your My Social Security account. You can see your projected benefit at age 62, at your full retirement age, and at age 70, all in one place. Print it out. Look at the three numbers side by side. Then talk to a financial advisor about which claiming age actually makes the most sense for your specific situation. Mistake number 4 is not having a written plan for healthcare costs. I want to ask you something directly. Do you know how much you will spend on healthcare between now and the end of your life? Most people do not. And that gap in planning is costing retirees enormous amounts of money every single year. Fidelity's annual retiree healthcare cost estimate, one of the most closely watched studies in the retirement planning world, found that the average 65-year-old couple retiring today will need approximately $315,000 just to cover healthcare expenses throughout retirement. That number does not include long-term care. That is doctor visits, prescriptions, Medicare premiums, dental, vision, and hearing. The basics. And here's the part that catches people completely off guard. Medicare does not cover everything. Medicare Part A covers hospital stays, but it has deductibles and copays. Medicare Part B covers outpatient care, but you pay a monthly premium and 20% of most costs after the deductible. Medicare does not cover dental care, vision care, hearing aids, or most long-term care. If you retire before 65, you will need to bridge the gap with private insurance, which can easily cost $600 to $1,200 per month for a single person depending on where you live and your health status. And long-term care is its own separate and serious conversation. According to Genworth's annual cost of care survey, the national median cost of a private room in a nursing home is over $100,000 per year. The median cost of assisted living is around $54,000 per year. These are not catastrophic, once-in-a-generation expenses. More than half of people who reach age 65 will need some form of long-term care at some point in their lives. What can you do this week? Start by building a simple healthcare budget. Estimate your Medicare premiums. Estimate your out-of-pocket costs based on your current health, and research whether a Medicare supplement plan or Medicare Advantage plan makes more sense for your situation. And then have an honest conversation with a financial advisor about long-term care. Whether that means long-term care insurance, a hybrid life insurance policy with a long-term care rider, or simply earmarking a portion of your savings for that specific purpose. Mistake number 5 is not updating your beneficiary designations. This one is quiet. It does not feel urgent. And that is exactly why it devastates so many families. Your beneficiary designations, the names you filled in on your 401k, your IRA, your life insurance policies, override your will. I want to say that again because it is something that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. It does not matter what your will says. Whatever name is listed on that beneficiary form is who gets the money, period. AARP estimates that billions of dollars in retirement assets are distributed incorrectly every year in the United States because people simply forgot to update their beneficiary designations after a major life change. A divorce, a remarriage, the death of a spouse or child who was listed as a beneficiary, having children or grandchildren you want to include. Here is how this plays out in real life. A woman passes away at age 71. She has been divorced for 14 years and happily remarried for 11. But she never updated the beneficiary on her IRA, which still listed her first husband's name from 1987. Her current husband, the person she loved and intended to provide for, received nothing from that account. Her ex-husband, a man she had not spoken to in over a decade, received the entire $230,000 balance. This is not a hypothetical. Stories like this happen thousands of times every year. What can you do this week? This week, not next month, not when you get around to it. Contact every financial institution where you have an account. Ask them to send you your current beneficiary designation on file. Read every name on every document. Confirm that those names still reflect your actual wishes today. And if anything has changed, update it immediately. Most institutions allow you to do this online in under 10 minutes. I know this might feel overwhelming. The idea that you could be making 5 separate mistakes simultaneously, any one of which could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. That is a heavy thing to sit with. But here's the good news, and I mean this sincerely. Every single one of these mistakes is fixable. Every one. And the earlier you catch them, the more time you have for the corrections to compound in your favor. Let me tell you what happened to Robert. When Robert sat down with that financial advisor at 64 and saw the full picture for the first time, he did not panic. He said something that his advisor later told me she will never forget. He said, "Okay, I still have a year before I plan to retire. What can we actually do?" They maxed out his catch-up contributions for his final year of work. They pushed his Social Security claim from 65 to 67, which meaningfully increased his monthly benefit. They updated his beneficiary designations, which had not been touched in 22 years. And they put together a written healthcare budget that gave Robert, for the first time in his life, a clear-eyed view of what his retirement would actually cost. He did not recover everything he had lost. Some of those years were simply gone. But he retired at 65 with a plan that was realistic, funded, and designed to last. And he told his advisor that knowing the truth, even hard truth, felt better than the false comfort he had been living in for the past 7 years. That is what I want for you. Write these down. Number 1, your 50s are your most powerful savings years. Use the catch-up contribution rules. Do not slow down. Speed up. Number 2, your home is not a retirement plan. Know exactly what your retirement savings look like without counting on home equity, and close the gap while you still can. Number 3, go to SSA.gov this week. Look at your projected benefit at 62, at your full retirement age, and at 70. Understand what early claiming actually costs before you make that decision. If you found this video useful, please subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. And I want to invite you to watch our next video, where we go deep on the one Social Security mistake that is costing retirees an average of more than $100,000 in lifetime benefits, and the simple calculation you can do in about 15 minutes to make sure you are not one of them. You have worked too hard and too long to leave money on the table now. The next right step is always available to you, and it starts with knowing the truth.